Hey y'all, it's Genevieve Vibe. I know it has been a minute since I have posted a video, and it is because life has really been on a rampage with me. So let me go ahead and get into it. So my last video that I posted, it just came from New York, from the New York Doll Con. So after that trip from the New York Doll Con, a couple of days later, I realized I had gotten COVID, and COVID had me sick for the next two and a half weeks after that trip. So that put us into middle of March, going into late March, and I was preparing for another trip. So in the last weekend of March, I went to Chicago to this beautiful gathering called the Great Lakes Chicago, and it was a nice trip. I enjoyed it, and that's when the people who dress in EGL fashion, which is elegant Gothic Lolita or Japanese fashion, get together. And I don't want to say it's like a convention, because it's not a convention, it's more of like a giant meetup. And that ended, they had a fashion show and a tea party. If you want me to do a video more in depth on it, let me know in the comments and I can do that. So I went to that, and then 2 weeks later after that, I went back to Chicago and I went to C2E2 and had an awesome time there. I do have a video coming up about my thoughts about this year's C2E2. But with that being said, I came back from C2E2 on a Monday. That Tuesday afterwards, well, let me back up. Coming back Monday, I wasn't feeling all that good. I thought it was maybe because I had done so much that weekend that maybe, fatigue and not eating like I usually eat had gotten to me. So Tuesday, that next day, I was still so very tired, and I had things I had to take care of because that was tax day, and I'm a last minute person when it comes to taxes. So I had to get that taken care of, and I don't think I got out of the bed much on Tuesday because I was really not feeling good. But again, I thought that was just because of the trip. Me getting over going on the trip where I did a lot of activity, did a lot of walking, and all that good stuff. So then comes Wednesday. Time to go back to work. They were doing a lot of changes at work. It was really busy. I ate a bunch of stuff I probably shouldn't have been eating during the day. But yeah, so fast forward to Wednesday night, Thursday morning. I woke up, it was like 1 in the morning, and I was so sick. I spent the whole night in the bathroom throwing up, and it's like I could get no relief from the pain I was feeling. And I just thought maybe that was because of, again, all the stuff I had been eating, because I was trying to coming off of the weekend and trying to get back into the flow of things. So that night I got absolutely no sleep because I could not, the pain in my stomach just wouldn't let me get comfortable enough to get any rest. So, being the trooper I tried to be, I worked the whole day afterwards. All I could think of during the work day was like, my gosh, can I get to the end of the day so I can at least try to rest? So that Thursday I worked. I've tried to focus beyond the pain and discomfort and just get my work done. So I did that. Thursday evening, no, I haven't eaten much of anything because my stomach is still irritated. So I go ahead, I try to snack on a little bit of anything that I can try to get down. I had crackers and just anything small that I could at least see if my stomach could hold it. So come Thursday night into Friday morning, same deal happened. I'm in the bathroom. I can't hold nothing down. I can't even hold water down, and I felt so bad. And I just was like, nope, I can't do this anymore. And I got ready, and my daughter, she took me down to the emergency room. Got down to the emergency room. Luckily, there was no one in the emergency room, in the waiting room. So they were able to take a look at, register me and take me right into the back. They could obviously see that there was an issue because me and Pain don't do well. We don't do well at all. So they could obviously see there was an issue, and I swear that morning, Friday morning, they did all types of tests. I had a CT scan, I had an ultrasound, they took my blood a couple of times, and after being there most of the morning, they took me to I guess they have different parts of the emergency room. So they have the triage part where they try to assess what your issue is and if it's going to require admission. So we had got past that part, and she was like, well, I'm going to take you over to the other part of the emergency room because we're going to have to admit you. So I'm like, okay. So nope, I'm still not feeling it, although they're giving me pain medication to try to temper it down until they could figure out exactly what they needed to do. So I sat in that section of the emergency room for most of Friday while they kept running tests and seeing what was going on. So they finally found me a room in the I keep on calling it the hospital. They found me a room in the hospital, and I spent the night in the hospital, which was wild in itself. Man, some patients just be going, ooh, they don't do well in the hospital. And then I had a lady who I was sharing the room with. She swore she was at home because it was 1 a.m. and she had her TV up so loud. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm sitting here trying to get rest, not feeling good, and she watches some scary movie and I don't really get into scary movies, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So finally I was able to get a little bit of rest. Woke up the next morning. They came in telling me that they were going to do yet another test. They were going to do some type of MRI imaging. So fast forward to after the MRI imaging was done, and they assessed what was going on. They came to my room. Here come the ambulance transportation people with the doctor. So the doctor comes in and be like, well, we know it's your gallbladder, and they were saying they had to do some type of surgery. I will put what they called it on what's name. No, I'm just out of it. They drugged me to keep me the pain down, and all I know is he's like, well, you need to get the surgery done, and if you want it done today, you have to go to the main hospital, because in where I'm at, they have a series of different hospitals. The hospital chain is Corwell, and they have like smaller hospitals, and then they have a few big main hospitals. Well, I was at one of the smaller hospitals, and they wanted to take me to one of the bigger hospitals where they said they could do this procedure today. So I was like, okay, because my thing is like, I didn't want to be in pain anymore. And so they went ahead and transferred me to the larger hospital. And no, this was my first ambulance ride for myself. I had ridden with other people in the ambulance before, but never for myself. So this was my first ambulance ride myself. And Lord knows how much that's going to be when the bill comes. But anyway, so they transferred me to the big hospital, and things happened so fast. They took me from the ambulance directly to pre-op, and they did all the stuff they do for pre-op, and then they took me in for the operation, for the first procedure. And all I know is when I woke up, I was in the recovery room and they had done the first procedure. So when they took me back to the room, someone came in, and I can't remember. All of this is kind of like a little bit of a blur because, again, anesthesia is a mug. And they had a hard time bringing me back out of anesthesia because I just wanted to sleep. So I don't remember if it was later that night or earlier that morning, but all I remember is that the doctor said that they had to clear out the gallbladder because it was all kind of icky stuff in there, and it was fully infected, and the infection had spread around to the organs around it. So my liver was inflamed, my counts and numbers on that were up, and everything in the circumference of that was all messed up because my numbers was all off the chart. They had to put me on constant antibiotic because they didn't want the infection to do any damage to anything that I actually needed. And then they said basically that the gallbladder was gonna have to come out, but they wanted to go ahead and do this surgery. They put a bile stent in, and they wanted to make sure to relieve, they wanted to try to get the inflammation and the infection down, tamp that down before they went in to take the gallbladder out. So that was on a Saturday. So that got all this news, I believe either was Saturday night or Sunday morning. I can't remember which one. I think it was Saturday night. So Sunday was Easter. So I felt okay enough with them having me medicated and everything to have people come in to see me. And it was just, I just spent that day trying to just recover from the first procedure. No, I can't eat nothing. They had me on a liquid diet. So I'm like, oh my gosh. Wait, let me back up. I hadn't eaten anything up in that point since that Thursday night because I couldn't hold anything down. No, we are to Sunday, and all I'm on now is a liquid diet. So I'm like, I can't have no solid foods or anything like that. So then I came to Monday. So on Monday, they told me I couldn't eat or drink anything prior to surgery. So, and the surgery, the next procedure, I keep calling it surgery, but I guess surgery procedure, whatever, was to take out the gallbladder. So that happened on Monday afternoon, which, you know, I wasn't as heavily medicated because I wasn't in as much pain, which kind of scared me. I don't know why it scared me. Yes, I do, because up until this point, I had not been admitted in the hospital since I had my last child. And my last child is what, 28? So he'll be 28 this year. So yeah. So I hadn't been in the hospital in that long as far as me being a patient. So, and I had never ever had a surgery. So yeah, that was a bit scary for me. So they had the surgery where they took out the gallbladder, and things seemed to be okay at that point. So again, me and general anesthesia don't like each other very well because I don't be wanting to get up. So they struggled to get me out, to have me come out of anesthesia. And so that, you know, after that, I'm thinking, okay, we're gonna do better. You know, I'm feeling a little bit of pain from where they had to do the surgery because they had to do an incision. I had the laparoscopic, so the incisions weren't big, like real big, but they still hurt because they were still incisions. They still picking with you inside, and it still hurt. So I'm dealing with that pain, and so Tuesday comes along, and I'm thinking I'm feeling better, but I'm starting to feel worse. So when I was in the hospital, not in the hospital, oh my gosh, when I was in the hospital that evening, all of a sudden, no, I haven't eaten anything but liquids. All of a sudden, I feel the urge to throw up. And when I do that, they're looking like, what the hell is she throwing up? Kind of looking back. I was throwing up blood. And I was like, because they were looking at it because it was dark brownish red, and it was like, why is she throwing this up? And the doctors were looking at it like, what is wrong here? So that happened, and so they started taking and doing more tests to see what's going on, and they find that my blood levels are going down. My, what is that called, hemoglobin was going down. And that, usually your hemoglobin average is around 12. Mine had dropped to a 6, and so they're like, oh my gosh, where's this girl bleeding at? So they had to give me a blood transfusion that Wednesday, and then they took me back for more the surgery where they do the with the camera, and they looked through and had to fix whatever was going on. So they found out that due to this whole situation, there was a ulcer that was massively bleeding, and they had to go back in. They had to go in and fix that so that would stop being an issue for me. And so after that, right after that procedure, then, you know, they tell you so much in the hospital. Have you used the bathroom? You need to be able to use the bathroom. You need to do that. Right after that surgery, I had to use the bathroom, and that was a mess right there, because when I was about to finish, the nurse had to come in to see, because after you have a procedure and you make some type of movement or anything after that, they have to check to see what's going on. And I would not forget how she said this. She came in and I was like, so do you need to see what happened? And she's like, oh, there's all the blood. I was like, oh my gosh. So obviously when I was bleeding, it was going into my, going in the way things going, and it all just came out. So they figured out where it had been hiding, and they were also able to fix it where I wasn't bleeding. This time it wasn't hard for me to come out of anesthesia, because they did the twilight sleep and not the general. So that was a little bit easier for me to be awakened from. And so going back to, so the nurse said that, and so after that they gave me a whole bunch of different other medications in the IV and kept me on the antibiotics. And Thursday they kept taking blood and kept, the whole hospital thing, kept poking and prodding you to make sure that you're okay. By Thursday I was like, okay, I don't care what's going on, I'm ready to go home. I was just ready to go home then. I was like, I'll just be sick at home, I just want to go home. So by Friday means that I've been in the hospital for a whole damn week. 7 days, a whole damn week. So Friday comes along, and the doctor comes in, and he was like, you're stable, and basically we've observed since the procedure on Wednesday, and it's a good chance you'll be able to go home this evening. And so that was the attending doctor who came around and said that. And then the surgeon came around doing his rounds, and at first he was like, oh, you seem to be stable and now I guess we could test you every 12 hours now. And I looked at him, and I guess I'm the type of person you can see on my face like how I'm feeling and what I'm thinking. So he was like, however, I would be okay with you going home as long as you made sure to go and get your scheduled labs to make sure that everything is staying where it's supposed to stay. So I was like, I can do that. So fast forward, I spent Friday morning getting ready to go home because I was so ready. So Friday evening came, because it was around rush hour. Friday evening came, and I finally was able to go home. Oh my gosh, I was so happy to go home. However, going home was the next phase of everything, because it's been a little over a week since I've been home. Look at the calendar. It's been a little over a week since I've been home, and I've been to the doctor. My levels are my blood hemoglobin levels and stuff are starting to rise, but they're still not where they should be. So I can't do a whole lot. I can't pick up more than 10 pounds. I can't do any vigorous activity. I get tired really quickly, again, because I'm considered anemic now because my blood levels are not high. And I have to watch what I eat because I can't eat heavily. I can't eat the way I used to eat. That's just a fact of the life now. I can't eat the way I used to eat. Last night I tried to eat my favorite food, which is fried chicken, and my body was like, I don't think so, and my stomach hurted all night. So I now realize I have a new normal, and I have to start adjusting to my new normal. So it's sad, but I just, not to say I can't never have any good foods anymore. I just have to be careful on how I eat them and the quantity I eat them, and I may have to take a extra supplement or two to help my stomach to be able to digest them, because that's what the gallbladder does. It helps to digest the fats, and it produces bile to help digest the fats in the foods we eat. So anything that's more fatty, my stomach is going to have a problem digesting. So, but that is what has happened. The reason why I have not been posting any videos. My goodness. So while I'm recovering, because I'm off work for a while until I can recover enough to have the stamina and energy to work, because I'll do stuff for so long and then my body is just like, nope, we're done, and it's a wrap at that point. So I'm working with my doctors to get me back to the point where I can actually function properly again, because I spent the longest time like thinking like, oh my gosh, why is this so difficult? They make it seem like this surgery is so easy. If you go in to get your gallbladder removed and you're not already sick, you're not, your what's name is not already infected, you're not already you're not already in a bad condition, yeah, you could probably recover from it much better than I have. But I went in there and the doctors just shook their head and was like, you should not have to have 3 procedures just to have a gallbladder taken out. So yeah, I was in really bad shape, and I didn't even know I was in really bad shape. And you know, and from looking into the gallbladder and listening to what some of the nurses said, it's like this was not all of a sudden thing. Usually your gallbladder gives you signs that it's like not doing as well as it should be, but those signs can be diagnosed as something different. So, and I realized looking back at how I've been feeling the past year, how I've been feeling in certain instances, I can say this may have been a part of my gallbladder say, hey, but when I went and talked to people, doctors about it, they just thought it was something else. So with that being said, that's my story, and I'm just trying to move on and get better so I can start doing the stuff I need to do, because June I had to cancel everything for May. There's nothing I'm doing in May because I have to spend this month to recover. So I'm supposed to sell at 2 doll shows, couldn't do that. I'm supposed to go to Anime North, not gonna be able to do that. My first thing I'm trying to get well enough to do is I'm supposed to the first weekend in June, the first weekend in June, I'm supposed to be going to a doll convention in Chicago, one-day doll convention, and I'm trying to be well enough to do that. So I have a whole month. So I'm hoping that I can get myself back well enough to do that. And then the 21st of June is our Tri-State Doll Meet, which is my show, my thing. So I have to make sure I'm well enough to be able to have everything to go smoothly with that. So yeah, May, I'm just going to be it's going to be slow this month with me recovering and everything. So with that being said, I know this is a longer video. I am so sorry. I just felt like I needed to tell my story. And plus I'm like just been at home and I just need to talk. So with that being said, I will have a few more videos coming out. I've had stuff that I filmed, and plus I saw this other cool concept for a video, so I'm gonna be putting that out as well, because these are, I don't want to say they're low effort videos, but it's not me traveling and vlogging like that. So, and with that being said, I will be getting back into more of the doll content, and of course the gardening content, because my garden's gonna be late this year because I can't get out there and do a whole lot right now. So, but there is still gonna be a garden, so I'm gonna get into that content. And like I said, there'll be more traveling. So yeah, but first I got to get good for me, be healthy enough to do all that stuff, because if I can't be healthy, I can't do none of that stuff. So what I like to say is take care of your health, y'all. If something seems wrong, follow your instinct and get it checked out, because if it seems like it's wrong, hindsight being 2020, you'd rather be safe than sorry. Because yeah, no, I was a little sorry. But you know, but such is life. So yeah, so if there's anything that you'd like me, any questions you'd like me to answer, any video ideas you have for me come in the future, please go ahead and drop them in the comments. And I guess that's it. I hope you all have an awesome week, and until next time, stay safe and blessed. See ya.